Dorine Rivers is the founder and CEO, that's Chief Edutainment Officer of Sevantz.AI. Dr. Rivers has a PhD in business management and human and organizational systems, a project management professional certification, and investment banking licenses. She has 3 decades of expertise in launching and managing businesses, educational leadership, video production, and is an award-winning published author. Her passion creating Sevantz came from a desire to convert her own work into videos. She soon realized that the system she was building could benefit millions of businesses, educators, and learners. Dorine, welcome to the next level.
Thanks. Love being here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So excited to get into it and learn more. But just off the top, I don't think you started your entrepreneurial career right away. You spent the first 25 years of adulthood sort of not building your business. So just tell us a little bit about how you got your start and what you learned along the way.
Well, I'd have to really actually roll that back to about 8 years old when the kids in the neighborhood were selling lemonade. And my brother and I decided that we needed to do something different. So we took Kool-Aid and we froze it in the old ice cube trays, the ones you used to crack open. And the trick is about halfway through to remember to put the toothpicks in there. So you have a little popsicle stick. And instead of selling them for a penny a cup like the lemonade, we sold them for 2 cents a popsicle. And we soon had most of the neighborhood business. And it's because we thought of something people wanted and we did something different and we actually did it. And I actually have been an entrepreneur my entire life. And even when I was raising my 5 kids, I had to come up with ideas and ways to earn money. And so I did. And there was a big why, and it's because we need money. And you have to think outside the box. How can I do this and still stay home and raise 5 kids, ages 0 to 5? And you come up with those ideas. Those ways of doing things and the way of problem solving doesn't change. It actually gets better over time with practice. And so when I decided to launch a consulting business, I already had some of those tools in my toolbox. And then every time, as all entrepreneurs know, your experiences teach you more and more and you get better and you learn what to do. And just as importantly, you learn what not to do. And you get better and you fine tune your skills, you find your zone of genius and you stay there. And as Dan Sullivan tells everybody in Strategic Coach, don't worry about your weaknesses and don't spend time trying to make those better because all you have is strong weaknesses. Concentrate on your strengths and make those better. And that's your winning strategy. And I couldn't agree more. And I know all the entrepreneurs that are listening today realize that that's great advice. So stay in your lane and stay in your zone of genius and just keep getting better at it.
Dorine, I'm curious, in your journey, you had the necessity to get into the entrepreneurial world. How did you discover your zone of genius?
That's kind of an interesting question, only because I have done several different things. Years ago, I was approached by someone to come in and help develop a 10-acre piece of land in Island Park, Idaho. And I had a construction license. Well, I didn't have one at the time. I actually, when I got into this project, we were building a big timeshare, which I knew nothing about. And I had to figure out how to do all of the regulations and all the legal requirements ready for that. And then when my partner sort of took a back seat to everything, I was also over all the construction. And I wanted to know more about what they were doing. And so I went and got a contractor's license because I wanted to know what needed to be done. And I needed to know which questions to ask to get the job done correctly. So I think any entrepreneur who is in any field realizes that you cannot just sit back and plan on using what you know. You have to keep learning new things. And when there are problems to solve, maybe you don't know a lot about it, so you need to learn about that. I'm currently building an AI platform, and AI is not my specialty, and neither is technology. But building companies is, and learning and education is. So take the 80% you know really well and put in that other 20% that makes you excellent at what it is that you don't know and put it together. And you're ready to go. And don't be afraid of the challenge to learn those things.
Well, and that's a perfect segue into Sevantz, which I know is your AI platform. I know AI is such a buzzword right now, and everybody is looking for new ways to inject AI into what they're doing, how they're thinking, looking for opportunities to grow their business through AI. And here you're building an entire business in the AI space, which just seems to be incredibly fast evolving, right? I think on a single Tuesday, we had 3 different new big large language models or tools drop from OpenAI, Google, all at once. So tell me what you're building at Sevantz. I want to learn about that, but also how you took that leap, because to a lot of people, I think AI feels like something that is inaccessible in terms of starting an entire new business or retooling their entire business around AI. It's fast moving, high tech, and you're obviously jumping into the deep end there. So, what gave you that confidence to be able to take that next step?
A really good life jacket, which having jumped in the deep end before. But let's roll back a little bit to your comment about how AI is a big buzzword, and it is. And AI is so many different things. It could merely be a bot that is helping customers and directing them to the right place in your customer service department. Or it could be a tool that goes in and helps your payroll. Or it could be someone that helps write the blogs for your website. All of those are AI tools, and there's thousands of them, tens of thousands of them. And they're all rolled into the word AI. And it makes people think, gosh, how much of this do I need to do? And, the answer is you need to do the things that will help grow your business. And just look at that small part to begin with. It can be an overwhelming thing to think there's 10,000 tools that I need to look at so I see what I need. And it's like, no, you don't. If you're looking to write a blog, just look at the few top tools that are for creating text and writing blogs and writing articles. And then just look at that and start there. AI is not meant to be the scary thing that a lot of people are afraid of. It's meant to be an assistant to what you're already doing. It's not meant to replace you. It's meant to help you do what you're doing better. And I think if you remember those things, then it's really, what about Bob? It's baby steps, right? Just take a few baby steps, put your toe in the water, put your foot in the water, and you don't need to jump in with a great big life jacket like I did. Um, just take a little bit at a time, but you will find that every step you take makes things easier, and it saves time and it saves money, and it makes people good or better at what they do. So if you look at it that way, it is not an overwhelming giant, but it's a tool in your back pocket you can pull out and use to make your life easier.
I love that. Yeah, I love the idea of starting small and growing into it, right? So to that end, Sevantz is one of those AI tools that's now available out there. Tell us a little bit more about the founding story there, and tell us a little bit about the platform, what it does.
Sevantz is sort of like 3M's Post-its, where it really was an accident and something that turned out to be a great thing. I had written a book last year and launched it called Brain to Bank, how to get your idea out of your head and cash in. It's the culmination of 30 years of being in the consulting business and helping people to start businesses as well as starting some of my own. And it's as much about do this, and then maybe most importantly, don't do this. There are a lot of lifelong lessons in there about companies who either did or didn't do something they should have. And a lot of times it cost them their company or a lot of time and money. So I wanted to take Brain to Bank and make it into an online course, because when you publish a hardback book like this, you're making $1 or $2 off of a $35 book. That's it. I mean, you're not paying your mortgage with this, and maybe you're going to a moderate restaurant instead of some big steakhouse. See, it doesn't pay money to be an author. It's for other reasons that you decide to be an author. But the online courses, instead of making $1 or $2, you sell it for $600, $700, $900, $1,000. Now you got something going here, and this is additional revenue stream. And many authors have spent 1 to 2 years writing a book. And what if you could maximize that by 1,000% every time someone wanted to take your course, instead of trying to push your books into bookstores? So it's a great thing. And the other part of that is videos are a super great teaching method. You can tell somebody in 5 minutes what they might read in a chapter. And that's pretty much the attention span of anybody these days anyway. So let's meet them where they are, which is right here, where their phone is in front of their face all day long. And let's give them what they want. Let's give them edutainment, which is education and entertainment put together. And so authors can upload a chapter, and it'll pull out key points, and it'll turn it into little module videos for you. So I decided that I wanted to do this to my Brain to Bank book. About 2 months into it, I realized that I am not creating an online course here. I am creating a platform that could benefit millions of other people. It could benefit educators. They could take those horrible, boring textbooks and make it interesting. And guess what? The learners and the students would actually learn something. What a novel idea. And authors could maximize what they've spent a lot of time writing, which is, the book that is tough to sell. It's great for businesses, for their training. It's great for entrepreneurs, put together a pitch deck and show what their new product's all about. And, hey, invest here because let me show you instead of tell you what we're doing here. And so I pivoted and I hired several developers to create the platform instead of just the online course. And we went from inception to MVP in 7 months and launched it. And every day we're making more improvements and making it easier to use, making the visuals more stunning, easier to remember. The whole point is we want learners to learn faster and remember more. And so we're coding and programming in things in your videos that help learners to remember what it is you're teaching them. So that's Sevantz, and it's everything I do all day long. I'm one of the luckiest people in the world because I walk in my office every morning. I cannot wait to get in here because work is more fun than fun. And I know what we're going to work on today, and I can't wait to see it visualized and then actually see it working because I have a super great team and they make stuff happen.
I love the passion. I'm curious, Dorine, just for for the entrepreneurial audience that's listening, what are some of the use cases? You're talking about, people actually learning something from the books they're reading, but what are some of the use cases for the entrepreneur? How should an entrepreneur be thinking about a tool like this?
Entrepreneurs specifically are looking for something that grab attention so that people pay attention to what they're creating. I put together a pitch deck for one of my companies, and it included a video that I made that was an overview, and I made the video on Sevantz, and it turned out you couldn't help but watch it and say, can I watch that again? Because they're beautiful and they're fun. And there are 8 different templates you can choose from. You can do a cinematic, realistic, you can choose comic book and have fun with it, or fantasy, or, it depends on what you're creating, what flavor you want your video to be, and the voice that you choose and the music that you choose all end up culminating into what you want that visual to be like. And I just created an overview for the entrepreneurs that I put on the website, and it has high-powered music to it, and it has an authoritative voice. And so entrepreneurs can choose how they want to present themselves, and they can talk about what they're working on. If they're looking for investors, that's a different pitch than if their company is a nonprofit and it's saving children in Africa by providing clean water. That's a whole different feeling. But all of these videos can be produced, and then you put them on your website and show people what it is you're working on, why it matters to you, and why it should matter to them. And all that can be accomplished in a minute or two on a video. We create those videos for you. Or, more importantly, you create them on our website, but we make it easy for you to do it.
I love that. And we got here by virtue of, you got here by virtue of this, entrepreneurial journey you've been on and writing the book. It sounds like was sort of the seed for what ultimately evolved into this platform that you've developed. Tell us a little bit about your book and some of the high level things that we can expect to learn from it, from your journey and experiences.
The book is actually written for entrepreneurs. It's for people who have ideas floating through their head and they don't know where to start, or they get stuck in certain elements and they don't know where to go from there. For example, maybe you know how to start your company legally, but you get stuck with manufacturing, or you're stuck in marketing, or you're stuck with finances because you're a right brain creative person and numbers are like teaching a fish to ride a bicycle. It's not your thing. So it tells you how to get around that, become proficient in it, and move past that thing that is stopping you from getting your product to market. And it starts with your why. Why are you doing this? Because at the end of the day, things get really hard, and just plan on it. But if you know why you're doing it, you hang on to that and you move past the tough stuff because you know why this is important to you, and you keep reminding yourself of that, and you figure it out, and then you move on. But it goes from chapter 1 to chapter 17. The things that you need to know to start your company, to think about even your exit strategy. If you don't know your exit strategy when you're starting, then you're setting your company up wrong to begin with. So we get you thinking about things like that. And then I mentioned the other things. There's marketing and manufacturing, and there's all these different things that go into it. But at the end of each chapter, there's accelerated actions, and there's a place for you to write down your company ideas and what you're doing, and you're going to put to use what you just learned and apply it to your product or service. So at the end of those 17 chapters, you're done. And just go from 1 to 17.
I love that roadmap nature of it. So you mentioned one of the things that's near and dear to our hearts, which is, the things that block you or get you in the way, or that you're not good at, that are not a natural fit for you in your zone of genius or unique ability. We have all these sort of vocab words around these concepts, right? So tell me a little bit about just how you have been able to leverage the use of an executive assistant. And I know executive assistants have been, one of the things that you're a big advocate of from your own experience. So share just a little bit, if you would, because I always love to hear those stories.
Well, almost everyone listening has heard of Dan Sullivan and Dr. Ben Hardy's book. How it's who, not how, right? And so everyone gets stumbled on the how. They come up with an idea and they think, how am I going to do this? Well, the first question should be, who can I get to do this? And once you realize that's your first go-to, nothing seems impossible. It might take you a little bit to find the right person, but and even intellectually and emotionally, you're not going to get stuck with doing this because you don't have time for it. You're just going to manage it like a general partner manages subs. You're going to sub it out and make sure it gets done. The beauty of that is you get to choose the best of the best for all your projects when you do that. I met Joe Polish when I was at Abundance 360, and he had just launched his book, What's in It for Them. And I had asked him, what are you doing for marketing for your book? Because we had launched within a week of each other. He said, the best thing that's ever happened to me is that I went and got a domain name, and it's joesfreebook.com. he said, go get a URL and offer either a book you've already written or a chapter out of your book as a freebie. And then that leads to people interested in the book that you've currently written. So I'm in my seat 30 seconds and I have riversfreebook.com. And I came home and I pulled a chapter out of the book, Brain to Bank, and it was Working Together Alone. And it's about how to outsource and delegate and get stuff done. And it's your who, not your how. And it was 37 pages, and I kind of got it ready for the freebie, and I'm thinking, this isn't enough value. So I start writing. By the time I'm done, there's 110 pages in it, and I have like a new book. I had written 2 books in 3 months, and I'm thinking, this is a whole book. But I ended up giving that book away because the information is so valuable. Working together alone is especially for people who are solopreneurs or have very small teams, and you outsource, and you're not picking up people that you're on a payroll all the time. You're picking up 1099s, and you use them when you need them, and you put them on the list of people to use later when you're not. And you get to choose the best marketers or the best graphic designers or the best bloggers, and so you have what you need, but you have really great people for each one of those little projects. And that's your who, not your how. That's your Working Together Alone. And then I give a lot of managing that to my executive assistant, who just tells me what's going on. And I waited so long to get an executive assistant, and I can't tell you, just get one now. It takes all that stuff off of your plate to leave you to do what you do the best. And you are doing things that no one else can do, and leave the other stuff to someone else.
Doreen, I'm curious. It's clear. I read your bio about growing up on whitewater rafting. It's clear your sense of adventure and how it's impacted your entrepreneurship. I'm curious. What's the greatest adventure you've been on so far?
That's well. Let's say the greatest adventure recently. Last year, I summited Mount Kilimanjaro, and I had been, it had been on my bucket list. I had been to Africa on safari a year ago, October, and I kept flying over Mount Kilimanjaro on this safari, going from camp to camp. And I'm realizing 2 things. One, hiking Kilimanjaro's been on my list since 1994. And 2, you ain't getting any younger. So I came home and I signed up with a trekking company, Tusker Expeditions. And then I bought my airline ticket to hike. And then I signed up for Arizona Winter's 6-pack, 6 hikes that were really hard, but it's a challenge, and you don't get the patch and you don't win your little badge of honor there unless you complete all 6 of them. And I knew once I'd done all 3 things that I would be hiking Kilimanjaro. So I trained for 9 months. And then when I got to Kilimanjaro, I knew I was ready because I didn't cheat myself on the workouts. I made it happen, because the last thing you want to do is spend 9 months and then get there and not summit. And I did not want that to happen. I refused to have that happen. So I got there, and I'm in Tanzania, and I'm taking that first step on the trail. I knew that when I committed that first step, even if I crawled on my hands and knees, I would make it to the summit. Because whatever happened in between the first step and the summit doesn't matter. You've already made your mind up that you're going to make it and you're going to reach that goal. And whatever happens here, however hard it is, or whatever problems are solved, or however hard it's going to rain, or whatever, you're going to still make it to the top because you took that first step. Any entrepreneur who has started a business realizes it's the same thing. You decide what you're going to do. You set your goal. You set your preparation and get everything lined up. And then when you take that first step, It doesn't matter what is thrown at you. You're going to reach your goal because that's why you started the whole thing. And it is just like summiting at 19,341 feet. You might be out of breath with no oxygen, but baby, you are there. And you made it because you made a commitment on the first step. And that's hiking Kilimanjaro, and that's starting a new business.
I think that is so well said, and I love the way you connected it to the entrepreneurial journey we're all on, and that taking that first step. As soon as you put that heel down, that you are going to get to the top. So I can't think of a better place to wrap it up than summiting Kilimanjaro. That's incredible, and I just want to thank you. There were so many takeaways here for me today. You can't just stick with what you know. You have to continuously learn new capabilities, and loved how you connected that to your story of building Sevantz. AI can be overwhelming, but solve for a specific need that you have with a specific tool. Loved your organic story of how you built businesses, shared your learnings, a book, wanted to create learning content in video form from that and sell a course, and then ultimately built a platform out of that. And then also know your exit strategy right from the get-go. I think that's so important. It's always great to have that reminder. And with who, not how, nothing seems impossible. That was so well said. So, Dorine, thank you so much for joining us on The Next Level. This has just been a fantastic conversation. Where can people learn more about you and get in touch?
I would say check out Sevantz, SAVANTZ.AI, and try to check out the free trial there. And there's a form there, and you can shoot me a note. I would love your input on Sevantz and what you like about it and where we can make it better and easier for you to use. I'm all ears when it comes to please tell me how to make it better, and I will. So thanks again. This has been a delight, and you guys are super fun hosts, and I'm happy to have been here.
Thanks, Dorine.
Well, thank you again, and appreciate you joining us today.